How's it going, my friends? Welcome back to another video. What's so special about this video is that it has 3 stories in it, and all of them are true. But before we begin, I need to do a couple things first. First off, I would like to change my outfit. Just wearing a blue shirt doesn't seem to be that impressive. So I want to wear something a little bit more classy. So with the power of animation and the snapping of fingers, ta-da! I now have a blue hoodie with orange interior. I actually wear this hoodie in real life a lot. And well, especially due to the fact that the fall season is a little bit more chilly. Though I have to say, the fall season by far is the best season of all. In my humble opinion, of course. There are many wonderful things of the fall season, such as the abundance of food due to it being the harvest season, and the trees change from green to yellow, red, and orange. And there is another reason why I love fall. It's because my birthday is in that season. Now, there's no need to wish me happy birthday or anything. It has already happened, but I want to thank you anyways. The stories that I'm going to be sharing with you are about being a hero. So these stories include my siblings. There is my brother, whom we shall call Dashingly Handsome. Yeah, he actually chose that, and in a way, he's actually more good-looking than I am. Then we have our sister that we adopted from China, and she has told me that she wants to go by the name Clar Sizzle. I did not pick out these nicknames. They're the ones who chose it, and I am willing to work with that. So the first story happened when I was about maybe 3 years old, almost 4, and my brother was not even a year old yet. He was still in the crawling stage. We were over at our grandparents' house. My dad took us over there so we can go visit him and all that, and my dad was having a conversation with my grandma. And of course, my brother and I, being of the tender ages where we don't really understand the conversations that adults usually have, we just kind of started doing our own thing. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, but at that point I did not realize that my brother started crawling away. I mean, that's how babies are. They crawl around, they are curious and want to figure things out. And by the time I looked towards him, he was turning around the corner. Now, I got a little scared at this point because I remembered just on the other side of this corner and another turn to the left was the staircase to my grandparents' basement. Now, this was a very old house. Like, I will say this, that the staircase was way too steep. And the floor of the basement was pure concrete. And my baby brother was about to crawl and fall down those stairs. I started getting over there, and by the time I got to him, I had grabbed him by a leg, and he was like hanging over the edge, and I was holding on to him for dear life so he would not fall and get seriously injured. And that's when I realized that I was going to need some help. So I started calling for my dad. But the thing is, he has a slight hearing problem, so he doesn't hear everything quite well. Now, he's not deaf or anything, but he doesn't hear as well as the majority of people do. But thankfully, my grandma heard me calling out, and she started walking over to see what was going on. My dad followed right after her, and then they both realized that I was saving my little brother from serious injury or possibly death when I was just grabbing him by a leg. And since my grandma got there first, she managed to grab my brother, and which helped me because I did not think I was able to hold on much longer. Then she handed him to my dad, and they were so proud of me that I had saved my brother. Now, I know that it may seem like a very simple rescue, but it was a rescue nonetheless. I'm so glad I was able to be there for my brother. So that is the end of story number 1. Let us head to story numero 2. Now, this story takes place in the house I grew up in, and it was a very nice house. It had a lot of carpeted flooring, carpeted staircases, and a nice tile-floored hallway. Well, one day, Clarsizzle was on a wheeled horse. Some of you may be old enough to recognize that old wheeled horse toy model. But unfortunately, my sister decided to go down the staircase with it. And once again, if it were not for me, she would have fallen all the way down. So while she was about to head down this staircase, I was actually walking by and ready to head upstairs and head to my room. And then I looked up and saw the head of the horse and realized that it was moving towards the staircase. My brain told me exactly what was going on. She was about to come down the stairs. I had no time to think of a plan. All I knew was that I needed to get up those stairs and rescue her. And I will tell you, I ran up so fast, I pretty much turned into Sonic the Hedgehog. I sped up the stairs and managed to stop my sister from falling all the way down the stairs and from the horse falling on top of her. If she had fallen all the way down the staircase, she would have had very serious injuries and would have landed on the tile floor, which is also on a concrete surface. So I get 2 gold stars of rescuing my siblings. And now to the final story, where this one is the most drastic of them all. Come to think of it, after I've been reviewing my stories, I realize that they have been getting more intense as the years go by, and I'm just realizing it. Anyway, let's get to the third story. This story takes place when I was around 8 years old, and my sister was about 2 years old. And during those years, she wore a lot of dresses. Now, I can't remember specifically if it was a red dress with white spots or vice versa, but we're going to go with a red dress with white spots, because that's not really important to the story. My parents and grandparents had taken us to a lake cottage to spend a nice day at the lake. Now, the thing was, we did not have any swimsuits with us, so pretty much we were just allowed to play on the land, which was fine with us. So my parents and my grandma decided to stay inside and have some pleasant conversations, and my grandpa decided to take a look at the land and also keep an eye on us. Now, I do not remember what game my siblings and I were playing, but I do know it had something to do with running. Now, I will say this, my sister is like one of the fastest people I've ever met. So we decided to let her go first. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that I will never forget as long as I live. I watched my sister run down the pier towards the 2 chairs that were at the end of the dock, and she did not notice that there was a fishing pole in between them, and she tripped over the fishing pole and went head first into the water. That is something I still remember to this day. One moment, my sister's head was in the air, and her feet were on the dock. The next moment, my sister's head is downward and her feet are in the air. And next moment after that, a big splash. My brother and I froze. We had just seen our sister fall headfirst into the lake. And we knew that she could not swim. Without hesitation, I ran as hard as I could to go save my little sister. I jumped off and plunged right into the water. Now again, I did not come up with a plan. I just jumped right into action. So the plan I came up with was to try to keep her above the water so she can breathe and hopefully try to get her to the point where she can actually grab onto the pier and pull herself up. Now, ever since it happened so quickly, I soon realized that plan was not exactly going to go very well. Because first off, the dock was still a little high up for her to be able to reach. And it didn't really matter if I tried lifting her up because I could not reach the ground. It was so deep, maybe about 6-7 feet deep. I was probably in between 3 to 4 feet tall. I realized at that moment, I was also in trouble. But I persisted, and I kept trying to get Clarsizzle to reach the pier, despite the fact that instead of getting her more out of the water, it was causing me to go deeper underwater. Now, back at the shore, my brother was still standing there in shock. He had no idea what to do, and I don't blame him. He had never seen such a thing. And luckily, my grandpa, even though he was deaf in one ear, heard the commotion and ran down the pier to our rescue. And when Papa finally arrived, he reached down, pulled my sister out of the water, and that made things a lot easier for me. But I have to say this, my energy was so drained at that point, like it was not even 2 minutes. But with all that effort I was putting into keep Clarsizzle's head out of the water, and then try to get a gulp of air myself, was very exhausting. I was trying to swim for the both of us. And when Papa came to reach for me, my eyes, as described by him, they looked like marbles. My energy was spent. He reached down and pulled me out. So technically in this story, my grandpa was the true hero. But I guess you can say that this is a story of a hero who needed a hero. I am so thankful that my grandpa was out there to keep an eye on us, and he came to our aid so fast. If it were not for him, I don't think my sister and I would be alive. And when we got back to the lake cottage, my grandpa told my grandma and my parents what happened, and they were so proud of me and of my grandpa. There were 2 heroes that day. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the 3rd story. Thank you all so much for watching this video. It took me a long time to make it, but I wanted to make sure it was just great because these were true stories and I wanted to tell them with the best of my ability. So a little lesson I want to give you guys is to remember that sometimes we need a hero and other times we need to be a hero. So I encourage you all, be a hero in someone's life. Stand up against the danger and help someone in need. And if you need help, be sure to ask for it, because you never know whether you'll actually need it or not. Well, that's all I got for you today. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, be sure to subscribe, I really appreciate the support, and leave a comment down below. Thank you all for being such a great audience, and I shall see you guys next time.